Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 240 of the Terminal City FC podcast, part of the Area 51 Sports Network. Josh Ray joined alongside Nathan Durek as per usual. So, Canada has been out of the World Cup, 3-0 loss to Morocco in Houston. And it's been a few days now. We'll go over that game and the tournament as a whole for Canada. But it felt like for that first half, the game was there for the taking, but things just fell apart in the second half.
Yeah, that's a pretty good assessment of it. They played well in the first half. They were able to hold off Morocco for much of it. In fact, Canada had the better chances in that first half. They had 4 shots to Morocco's 1 shot. Even though Morocco had the bulk of possession, they weren't really able to do anything with it. Canada was being able to withstand that pressure. The one thing we've seen in this tournament, though, is that if you're trying to withstand pressure for 90 minutes, more often than not, it's simply just not sustainable.
Yeah, and Canada pressed well in that half. They were moving the ball well. Like Morocco had trouble getting out of their own half because the back line for Canada was doing really well, but couldn't finish. Tani Oluwaseyi had that one chance early, but it was saved by Yassine Bono. Jonathan David was open looking back.
It was a half where Canada actually had chances. You take a look at touches in the box, it was 13-1 in Canada's favor. I mean, that was the half that if you were going to get something done, it was going to have to be in that first half. The more time you gave Morocco, the more time Morocco was going to be able to build up their structures and the organization and start to dictate the play how they wanted. Canada was attempting to counter. It's different from how Canada normally plays. Canada was even kind of keeping that high line. Not as high as they normally would have, but they were keeping it for the most part against Morocco, which you could argue maybe is risky. Maybe it kind of bit them a little bit in the second half, but in the first half, it was what we had hoped for. It was one of the better halves of Canada against a top quality side. It's just the one thing that always comes back to rear its ugly head when it's Canada, and that's finishing.
Yeah,
you take the Qatar game out of the picture, and finishing becomes the story of this entire tournament.
Yeah, Canada were creating chances in that first half, but nothing too high danger other than the Tani Oluwaseyi chance. And It wasn't sustainable in that second half because Morocco woke up and that free kick from Onani kind of fools everyone and goes past Crepeau. Then from there, Morocco took the game by their own hands.
Morocco had 3 shots on target in the second half and had 3 goals. So, I mean, it tells you right away just how quickly Canada broke down as soon as 1 goal happened. That defensive structure that they were trying to hold on to was no longer sustainable because now you had to fight for a goal, right? It almost didn't matter how many you shipped in. You needed something going on the other end. But it left even more gaps, and those gaps were viciously exploited.
Yeah, and Onani got his second in the 82nd minute from the counterattack, and then Rahimi also from a counterattack deep into stoppage time sealed the win for Morocco, and that's all she wrote for Canada at this World Cup. And credit to Morocco for bouncing back after that first half where they lost their top striker Sabiri to injury.
Yeah,
2 assists from Brahim Diaz and an assist from Achraf Hakimi. Morocco had the difference makers, Canada didn't. Jonathan David was quiet again. Tejan Buchanan was also quiet. And Steven Eustáquio, tried from the midfield, but he couldn't do everything himself.
Exactly. I don't fault Eustáquio by any means on this one. I mean, he's trying to, dictate something, start something, but you know what, Canada, they got to this round of 16 and they said that's the one thing they wanted is they wanted a top opponent to test themselves on. It felt like they kind of knew the race was already run at this point. They'd hit all the benchmarks that they had wanted to hit in the tournament. They'd even gone one step further. And now it was, okay, now we actually want to test ourselves against the best of the best. Let's see actually where we are. And we got our answer. I don't think the answer should surprise anyone. Canada is, 30th ranked in the world currently right now, and you're going up against a top 5, top 6 team. This is kind of what you should expect. That's not, it shouldn't be demoralizing, but it should tell you where you are right now and what you still have yet to do. That's fine.
Yeah. It goes to show the program is on the way up. There's still a lot of things to work on, which we'll get into momentarily. But everything after winning a game, getting a point, scoring a goal on home soil was a bonus. They winning the group would have helped because they would have stayed here in Vancouver, but they got past South Africa, was harder than expected, went toe-to-toe with Morocco for about a half. So if you ask someone that prior to the tournament, I think they take it.
I would have never thought round of 16 before the tournament. Like I said, my hope was to make it to the knockout rounds. That was my goal, which is round of 32. And they went one step further. So I can't be disheartened by what happened. There are areas, like you said, on the pitch that I think we can start to dissect with a bit more of a sober mind. Take a look at, okay, well, where does Canada need to improve? And go from there. The one thing that I like, and this is a comment that a friend of the show, Ben Steiner, had posted, saying that as soon as the tournament was done, Jesse Marsh was already on the phone trying to lock up players for the U20 championship and the coach. And eventually, because the U20 championship for CONCACAF is going to be used as qualifiers for the Olympics coming up in, 2028? In Los Angeles. The fact that he is already on the phone working not just for the senior team, but for the other coaches within the program, and hasn't skipped a beat. Like, he's not taking a vacation. He's back to work and doing this stuff for other levels of the program. Again, shows the commitment that Canada has now that it never had before. And I think that commitment, it goes beyond Jesse Marsh. It goes to the coaches of, like I said, the U20 program. It goes to the women's side of the game and what Casey Stoney and everyone there is doing. And it goes to Kevin Blue and what they're doing at Canada Soccer right from the top. Yeah.
I mean, this team will be back. Let's put that, out there. And 2030 is still quite a ways away. There's next year. Actually, in the fall, CONCACAF Nations League starts, but the expectation is Canada should be in the Final Four and win it, which will be, I believe, next March. Don't know where it'll be. Hopefully it's here. I'd like it to be here.
Final Four should be the minimum. You take a look at CONCACAF. We know the teams are here. We know CONCACAF Nations better than any other place in the world because this is our home. You got to expect there's going to be, your big three. And Canada is, in CONCACAF, one of those big three. And then the fourth, could be any number of teams.
Yeah. And then there's CONCACAF Gold Cup in the summer. Which obviously features more MLS players than European players, but that's a trophy that Canada wants to win as well. And make up for last year's Gold Cup disappointment.
Canada is one of the only, I think we're the only nation outside of Mexico and the United States that actually won the Gold Cup back in 2000.
Yeah, it's been that long.
Yeah, so let's do it again. Let's actually win a confederation level tournament. That is a good achievement, and that is a reasonable boundary for Canada at this stage.
Yeah, and obviously the issues finishing, like Jonathan David, take away the Qatar game, had a very poor tournament. I don't know. The thing with Jonathan David, he is either good or he completely disappears.
You know what? You got to go back to the Lille days to figure out what was working back there. Is it a question of service? Is it a question of formation? Does he need a second striker beside him, behind him, ahead of him? 10? Or does he work better as a solo striker? Because the thing is a lot of people are saying the same thing with Juventus. Juventus was a difficult transition. He had moments. But it hasn't been like what happened with Lille. Lille was, and the thing is I don't think him at Lille was just a flash in the pan. Like, I think he is legitimately a top striker, but something's not working. And I think what's not working is outside of Jonathan David's control.
Yeah, and you could also say that the French league, the quality of you could all and the
But the
Italian
thing
league.
is he was doing this with Lille against PSG. Like he was playing those games and getting goals. Like he was one of the top strikers in that league, like top 3.
Yeah, and I'm just taking a look here at Lille. He did play in a 2-striker system and as a lone striker.
Guess you just have to see which one worked the best.
Yeah, and then at Juventus, they had Igor Tudor, and then they fired him, and then they have their current manager. The name's escaping me.
I mean,
I don't know. It seems like, yeah, he's trying to drop deeper at Juventus from what I've seen, and Spalletti was trying to get the best out of him, but just wasn't working.
He drops deeper when he's playing with Larin as well, where Larin is higher up, the guy pressing. I don't want to call him a poacher, but he's the one that's really, really high and waiting for the ball to come to him, where in that 2 formation system, David will drop deep. It's not the greatest of comparisons, but it kind of reminds me of Harry Kane during the Tottenham days, where he would drop almost to the level of like an attacking midfielder to grab the ball, distribute wide, and then race up the middle to be the guy that gets it back.
Yeah. And
David is a technically gifted player, but he doesn't have the strength of a Harry Kane or some of those bigger strikers to be able to hold off like that.
Yeah. He was supposed to be the guy at this World Cup. He did do it against Qatar, but there was that poor shot against Bosnia, lack finishing against the Swiss, and that free kick against Morocco. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder, does he go on loan from Juventus? There's been rumors about that, but nothing concrete.
Before he signed with Juventus, it seemed like almost everyone under the sun wanted Jonathan David. He had suitors, multiple
Premier
suitors
League,
from
Spain.
Italy, from Premier League, all over the place. You got to wonder, why did he choose Juventus, right? Because everyone would have been offering him buckets of money. It's not that. It's got to be something else. It must have been something about like, we will use you in a certain way. We want you to play like this. We believe this fits your style. So if all of those things had matched up on paper, what's the disconnect, right? What's the disconnect between theory to application? Because application hasn't worked. And it seems like you have to get like everything just right for David to fit. And I mean, a lot of players are like that, where if you kind of just take out one cog, they can't really adapt to changing situations. David might just be one of those guys.
Yeah. I guess for David to really play, things have to work around him. And
it's unfortunate. I really like watching Jonathan David. I think when it does work, it's beautiful to watch. That's why we're not coaches, right? We're not the ones that are trying to figure out what is it to unlock him, right?
Yeah, another top player for Canada, Tajon Buchanan. Quiet tournament. Was good in the lead up to the tournament, but not
started well.
Yeah, started
the last
well
two games. The last 2 games he disappeared, especially. And you know what? I would say even in the Morocco game, he was more visible than he was in the Swiss game. Not the Swiss game.
South Africa.
The South Africa game. The South Africa game. I honestly, if you hadn't said his number at some point on the pitch, I probably wouldn't have been able to recognize he was out there, which is very, very strange, because you take a look at the flanks and how Canada moves the ball. More often than not, it's going to be on the right. Tajon Buchanan is established, where the left is a little bit more fluid, right? Like, are you putting on Ali Ahmed? Are you putting on Liam Miller? Is Jebison going on there when he's called up, right? The left is still a little bit up for grabs, where the right is Tajon Buchanan. Yeah. So, yeah, it was overall, Yeah. Overall, I'd say it kind of leans towards the disappointing side, but not as much as other players because I do feel that he did have good games at the beginning of the tournament.
Yeah.
In the group stage.
And when we're speaking of lack of goals and service, can't help but Marcelo Flores if he was healthy, because he is that creator that Canada.
That's the whole reason why they wanted to bring him in was to bring in a guy that's creative like that. Yeah, you have a link guy like Eustachio, kind of the engine in the middle of the park. You give it up to someone like Flores, and all of a sudden he's the creator, right? That was the plan. But
Jayden Nelson got called up, but only played against Morocco. Wish we saw him earlier in the game or earlier in the tournament with his speed.
Again, I like Jayden Nelson, but we know where he's normally used. And we also know that in his position on this Canadian team, he would have been third on the depth chart.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what he was.
I question why you brought him when there were other positions where you could have used more effective cover. I don't. He's still a strange inclusion into this lineup for me.
No, I understand it, but it wasn't. I understand he's deaf, but felt like they could have used him a bit more, given what his skill set is.
But his skill set is very narrow.
Yeah.
Right? Like you know that he's going to be the guy on the left, but he has no left foot, so he has to cut inside. You take away that channel, that's Nelson gone. We saw it every time he was with the Whitecaps. He had a good 3-4 games, and then he went fishing, right? Like he just disappeared.
Yeah, that's the thing with him.
As soon as he gets found out, we can't see what's next. It's like you and I were talking about when we were watching the Whitecaps about Bruno Caicedo. Because at first we were thinking, is Caicedo just going to be a speed merchant and only rely on that? And then about 5-6 games in, we started to see him start doing other things. Cut inside, be creative, move left to right. And we're like, okay, he does have something else. I don't see it with Nelson.
Yeah, and the back line, I think the back line did their job in every game, other than some of the goals they gave up. And you can't also but help. What if Moise Bombito is healthy?
If Moise Bombito was able to start from the very beginning, it would have been different. I think the pairing of DeFougerolles and Cornelius was really good for most of the tournament.
Most of the game.
Like it was really nice 90%. To see. I got to say, DeFougerolles, his stock has skyrocketed because I don't think we expected him to be used as much as he was. And he stepped up to the task. Yes, he is young. Yes, he had some mistakes. But overall, I thought he had a very, very good tournament. And I think Fulham are looking at him going, wait, this guy's not going on loan this year.
That's what I wonder. Does he stay at Fulham and get some minutes in the Premier League?
I think if he goes on loan, Fulham fans might be on a bit of a riot. Because from everything I'm seeing from Fulham fans, if he is not a Fulham player this year on their senior squad, they're going to have questions for their management, their coaching, their front office, and you name it.
Yeah.
Cornelius, I thought, did really well, and it makes me very curious as to what happens to him because, let's be honest, him at Rangers didn't work out.
Yeah.
Yes, Rangers got a brand new coach, but he was only on loan. I'm pretty sure that loan is done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he had injuries too.
He had injuries too, but once he was out, he was out. He was never getting back in. Him and the coach just didn't see eye to eye. So my hope is that he goes back to, it was in France, right?
Marseille, yeah.
It was Marseille, that's right.
I don't know who's their coach now. De Zerbi's gone, so
yeah. So my hope is that whoever's there looks at him and sees like this is a guy we want to try and integrate into our squad because I think that would be phenomenal for him.
Their coach is a guy named Bruno Genesio. He just took over like a few days ago.
Okay, well there you go. Hopefully he was paying attention. There are players on this squad I still question as to why they were called up, knowing what we know about their injury.
Alfie Jones wasn't 100%.
I'm trying to remember. Was Alfie Jones injured as part of the warm-up too? World Cup,
I
or was
think
he injured before?
was something.
Because
And then
I thought he was really good to go, and then he tweaked something. He was on the
tweaked
bench for the
something
last
during
game,
Yeah.
but he is one guy that didn't see a single minute. So there is the question about that. I hate to say it, but I'm going to be that guy. I question Alphonso Davies in this lineup. If he was not 100% ready to go, he only played 15 minutes, and you put him on, great, and he did a good 15 minutes, but he wasn't a 100% guy. We already had Canada playing without him for a year, over a year. We knew that it was possible. Isn't there someone else you could have brought into this lineup that would have actually contributed on the pitch? Now, the thing is these rosters were expanded. You were allowed, what, two extra players?
2 or 3 extras, yeah.
From what we normally was. So if you want to make the argument that no, Davies was one of those 2 or 3 extra guys, he was never going to be on the pitch. He was there to, elevate the players motivation-wise as the captain. Fine, I get that argument. I agree with you.
Yeah,
but I wish I would have been told that argument beforehand. Because this whole expectation of will he, won't he, will he, won't he, will he, won't he. I don't know. Like if you already knew the answer to that before the tournament, I'm kind of pissed off you didn't tell me. And I get, I wanted to play mind games. No, just don't.
Yeah, I didn't ever like the whole decoy thing against Switzerland.
The decoy thing didn't hurt Canada, but it didn't help Canada. It's the biggest nothing of this tournament.
Yeah, and
it's just nothing.
I don't know. Like, if Davies wasn't, I'm also really still pissed at Bayern Munich for rushing him back for that Champions League game, then putting him on when the game was like over, and then he got injured again. I don't know. I really wonder
what the relationship between Bayern Munich and Canada Soccer is right now, because there was the whole thing when Davies got injured. Originally, Bayern Munich was going to sue Canada Soccer, right?
Yeah.
Then that cooled down, cooler heads prevailed, there was talks, but we all know that Bayern Munich did not want Alphonso Davies going to the World Cup. They wanted him to take the summer to recoup, recover, and be 100% for the tournament. Davies obviously is like, no, I'm playing for my country. It is a World Cup. It happens 4 years. I need to be there. So Bayern Munich went fine, and then they went and signed Nathan Brown.
Yeah, and that aside, I really worry for Davies' career.
Yes.
I
don't think Brown is ready to go, but he is the guy that's to come in and say, okay, there's your guy that you're challenging for your spot. Go for it. It's not yours yet, but we have now given you the opening to do so. And I think Davies, with everything and health-wise, I first of all, if he was 100% healthy and raring to go, yes, he can absolutely fight for a spot, and I think he'd win.
No, he wins that spot. Just when he does get back healthy, I wonder if he'll be the same world-class left back that he was before his injury, because, knee injuries, hamstring injuries.
There was the British pundit I was watching. I wish the name escaped me, but he was talking about, like, when you do one ACL, you're more likely to end up doing the other ACL later on, because even though you can get, your one knee healed, it's that mental thing of trying to overcompensate, where you start putting more weight, more pressure on the other knee, which means that you're just that much more susceptible. And I will 100% back that up. When I did my knee in, I still favor my supposed good knee, even though it's been, a decade. So it's one of those things that, if you're especially an athlete like Alphonso Davies, where you're pushing yourself to the very edge of what human capability is, if you're not running and working and doing everything completely balanced in your body, you're favoring one side or the other, that's dangerous.
Yeah, and I just wish we got more clarity on his injury from Jesse Marsch prior and during the tournament. And if he wasn't
just it. That's absolutely it.
And another thing, though, like, if he wasn't 100%, you got other options. Richie Larea proved he can start. There's Zoran Basong, who's been called up in the past. Ralph Priso even played left back, but apparently he wasn't 100% either.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Richie Larea had a really good tournament.
Yeah.
I again, like the back line, there's moments where it kind of falls, but you can't expect everyone to be 100% all the time. I thought Richie Larea played a very smart, a very good tournament. Like he has developed into, even at this stage in his career, he's not in the twilight of his career by any means.
I think
he still has ways to go. But I was very happy to see what he was able to contribute.
Yeah, and for Davies, he revealed Marsh revealed that he felt something when he woke up on the day of the Morocco game.
Yeah.
And you can't blame the guy because hamstring injuries are brutal. I have bad hamstrings. And to all the hockey people who say, "Oh, why didn't he toughen it out? Why didn't he just play the game?" Like, I don't think you've ever played football or have had hamstring injuries. Those are painful.
The best description I ever saw it when someone said, "Okay, try to figure out what it is you're doing in football." It's like, okay, go to a soccer pitch. Now, jog around it 10 times. Yeah. Don't worry about speed, but jog around it 10 times without stopping. Now, after that 10 times, stand by one goal and race as fast as you can to the other goal, and have your best friend stand at the center dot. And as soon as you get to the center dot, tell them to give you a shove. Now, tell me if you're getting up after you've just done that 10 times and done that. Like your body goes through a lot in a game. Like these guys are running between 10 and 12 kilometers per game. Forget all the training that's going on with that. And you're also running that. And it's not like a marathon where, people are around you, but they're trying to leave you alone. No, these guys are crashing into you.
Yeah, they're trying to fight for the ball and trying to bump you.
So
and this isn't like hockey where guys play with torn ACLs, groin injuries. You're not gliding on the pitch. You're literally running.
You're also not going off for a shift every 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there are players that do kind of walk around the pitch, but that's because they're playing their zone, and also they're that intelligent where they just know where they need to be before they need to be there, right?
Yeah, I could.
It's a different game. I try not to compare the two. It doesn't make any sense.
But I could not believe some of the takes that day. Like, football is not a game where you can play on crutches.
I love the one comment when it was years ago, and it was a goalkeeper that broke a finger, and people were complaining like, "Oh, it's a finger. What are you going to do with it?" I'm like, that's literally their entire job.
You have to
have you ever seen a goalkeeper's glove? There's exoskeletons built into the back of them so that your fingers don't snap back. If you break a finger, you're out of the game.
Yeah, for all those calling Davies, a wuss or whatever, give your head a shake. Like, this is the face of our men's team. Yeah, as I said, I've dealt with hamstring problems. It's painful.
Yeah. Again, though, I still if he was there to be just the feel good guy, the guy to galvanize and bring players up, awesome. I'm fine with that. But I don't know, this whole will he, won't he? It got old, especially if you already knew what the answer was going to be.
So, for Canada, the tournament was a success. Crowds came in Toronto, Vancouver, pubs across the country. We're a football nation now. Plain and simple. Hockey will always be king, but football is the prince now.
That's a good way of putting it. I like that.
Youth registrations for footy will only grow. They're like half the country's kids play soccer. It's been reported.
What was it? They were comparing soccer youth registration to hockey, and it's more than double.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, soccer has it's just cheaper, like in terms of equipment and all that stuff. Registration, field access, and all that stuff, and how expensive that is. It is like it is still like any other sport in Canada. There is a cost barrier, and there shouldn't be. Like there needs to be a way to engage all youth sport and make it accessible for all kids. I remember Zlatan Ibrahimovic talking about when he came to LA and putting his kids into youth soccer. And he said, the one thing that didn't make sense is like back in Europe, it's all subsidized.
Yeah.
It's free for kids. He was spending thousands of dollars for registration in California for his kids just to play soccer. And he's like, I can do that. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't make any sense. Like, what else are you wanting your kids to do?
Yeah. And fan interest. Like, there are new footy fans now. So if you are a new footy fan, don't just support the men's national team during the next tournaments. Find a club. Support your local MLS, CPL, NSL, League One team.
Yeah.
No, find a club. Support the growth of the game across this country. Go to a game. Follow them on Twitter. Watch the game on TV.
Because this game has grown very quickly and is continuing to grow. We know the CPL is trying to consolidate themselves and keep their shape. NSL is expecting to add a new team sometime in the next year, right? And these are still very, very young leagues. They're only going to keep going. The League One system across Canada, now that they've added in the Prairies, as far as I know, they're still looking at adding in an Atlantic League. And at that point, you now have coast to coast. I don't know if we'll ever get north, but who knows?
Who knows? And also here in Vancouver, since the last game took place yesterday, what a success. Yeah. It felt like the 2010 Olympics all over again.
Do you know what's funny? Because you and I talked before the World Cup about we were hedging our bets. Like, is this really going to be a success? We know all the talk about the detractors and the reasons why this wouldn't be a success. But it reminded me, because it was interesting you brought up the Olympics. It reminded me of the Olympics is the one thing that I forgot was the people.
That's just
the people that made this a success. It was the people that showed up on the street, not in the stadium. In the stadiums, that's fine, but on the street and made this a success. And it was the same thing in the Olympics with the street parties, the atmosphere, that kind of welcoming nature that I'm actually proud that Canada seems to always have in moments like this.
So Vancouver seems to have.
Yeah, and I again, you know what? We're gonna have another giant event. Who knows how many years down the road? And I'm gonna think about all the logistical things that can go wrong. And then once the tournament starts, I'll be like, oh right, the people. It's the people that actually make it real.
Yeah, Granville Street was great. Was amazing.
Yeah,
the Fan Fest is great. Like, they really nailed the Fan Fest.
All of them. I checked out what was going on at Granville Island. I know people that went to the one at Lonsdale Quay up in North Van. You had checked out
the main one, PNE.
The main one, yeah, by the PNE and all that. So, and that's just a few. There were so many things going on.
I mean, people crap on Vancouver for being an event town, like it is, and I think people, if you build something, people will genuinely show up for sports.
You got to give them access, and if you can do that, yeah.
When the Canucks are great, everybody shows up, but they're terrible. What's the point?
Well, that's just the thing, is you need to build the heritage to make people still show up even when they are terrible, right?
Right. Well, people just
now it's our team. It's our team, and we're there thick or thin. So
I know one thing that we should also mention: a big legacy of this World Cup in Vancouver. Save the Caps. Keep the Caps here.
Yeah.
This city is a football town. And BC Place, say what you want about it. It welcomed the world. Wish the grass could stay, but
you know what? The grass held up. I had reservations as to whether or not it was actually going to be able to withstand the entirety of the tournament. From everything that we saw on TV and what the athletes were saying is, yeah,
players love it. They love the stadium.
There was a vote done by the Australian players of what was the favorite stadium that they played in throughout the tournament, and BC Place was number one for the majority of the Aussie stuff.
60% said BC Place.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about other.
There was Lumen, the Dallas Stadium, and the San Francisco one.
I know Kevin De Bruyne with Belgium talked very highly of BC Place.
So did Mo Salah.
I know other people talk very highly about Vancouver in general as a city, but about BC Place, yeah, I know De Bruyne had a lot of very nice things to say.
Yeah. So, I mean, well done to Canada. They'll be back, but oh man, I'm gonna miss the World Cup here in Vancouver. I wish people would put that same energy to the Whitecaps for their playoff run.
You know
But
what?
it
Who knows?
doesn't mean that you can go to the fan fest for the remaining games and all that. I'm sure downtown will still be a vibe, and there's talks of making Granville Street or that area permanently car free.
It is going to be for the summer.
For the
That's
summer,
already been
but
decided. But yeah, as for the rest of the year, I'm not too sure.
so yeah, well done to everyone involved for Canada Soccer and the city of Vancouver for a great. Well, all right, let's breeze through the round of 16. On that same day, Canada got eliminated. France got by Cubas and Paraguay. I mean, this isn't even football. This is haramball to the fullest notion. Sitting back, miming, rage baiting, complaining to the referee. Like Cubas was going at it with Mbappe.
You know what? It was happening throughout the game, but it was as it got towards the end of the game after the penalty. And at that point, it went from bad to some of the worst I've ever seen. Like that, it was just not fun to watch. It wasn't football. It was petulant toddlers complaining.
That was terrorism, literally.
Yeah. It was embarrassing to see that as part of this World Cup.
Yeah, that was. Thank goodness France won because that was not football.
Yeah.
Though I
and
think
you know
Diego's,
what? Before that, Paraguay was a team that kind of had a lot of good vibes that were following them. Like they had been fun to watch. Their goalkeeper Hill had been fantastic throughout this tournament. Yep. And I would argue he was even fantastic in this game. But there were like players where you could be like, you know what? You've shown your program and your country in a very positive light, and this just trashed it.
And then I mean, Diego Simeone, Mikel Arteta, and the Getafe manager Jose Bordalas must have liked that, but nobody else did.
Yeah.
Shout out to Andres Cubas for having a solid tournament.
Yeah.
Trying to fight Mbappe, but now he's on his way back to Vancouver, or it's already back.
Yeah, I got to be. By the time that game was done, I was actually happy that Paraguay was out.
Yeah, I think everybody.
The thing is I don't think that's not a good thing to think about any country. Like you don't want to wish anyone to be out of it, but the way that they were conducting themselves, I wouldn't even say playing because they weren't playing. It was just, yeah, it was just disheartening to see.
And it's even worse that Paraguayan senator, wherever she is, put that racist statement on Mbappe. Mbappe responded pretty well.
And then that senator doubled down with the second statement. I don't think we've seen the end of that. Both sides now say they're going to sue each other. Yeah, but that was disgusting. I mean, even the UN Human Rights panel talked about it. Like it got even bigger than just the countries.
I mean, that's Mbappe's influence. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And also, France will take on Morocco for the quarterfinal.
Be a good game.
It should be a good game. Spain in the Battle of the Iberian Peninsula with a last-minute winner over Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo's World Cup career is over. Mikel Merino with a stoppage time winner.
Yeah.
Not the most exciting game, unfortunately.
Again, not the most exciting game. This was always, it looked like it was going to be headed Spain's way. I would say Portugal put up a decent fight.
They did, yeah.
There were moments where you kind of wondered. But again, this is going to be one of those tournaments where you wonder, yes, we know Cristiano Ronaldo has retired internationally now. Should he have done it a month ago?
It's just that Portugal has a talent, but they just couldn't play together.
Yeah.
The midfield.
Also in this game, keeping Rafael Leao out of the lineup was mind-boggling.
And starting Pedro Neto all the time, and I forgot how infuriating he is to watch. Where he just tries to like, he has the talent, but he has no brain.
Whenever I look at Portugal, the one guy that still makes me shake my head because I'm like, he's a good player, but he's never seemed to find a home was João Felix. I don't know. This guy. I don't know what to think about him because he's one of those guys where I was like, do you know what he is? He's Portugal's Oscar.
Yeah, but at least Oscar found a home in China.
Well, yeah, but he's also the last guy who found a home in China.
Yeah.
He's just a guy that I have a feeling that he's going to go throughout his career, eventually retire, having played for 48 different teams, but never found a home at any one of them.
Yeah, just a hot and cold player too. And as I mentioned, Vitinha, João Neves, and Bruno Fernandes. It's a good midfield on paper, but just didn't work together.
No.
Yeah. So Portugal is out. I'll credit to Spain. Like, Spain has not given up a goal at this tournament yet.
I know, right? There are actually Unai Simon has now the record for the longest clean sheet streak in World Cup history, and it's still going.
Still going, and well, it's not this World Cup is not without controversy. So Fuller and Balogun, I don't think this was a red. I think it was harsh for being a red. Got us a red card against Bosnia in the round of 32. And then it got rescinded, which is normal because red cards do get rescinded. But the way it was rescinded with Mr. Trump and the White House getting involved.
That's where the argument lies. Like, you will not find many people that will argue that it was a red. They'll say it was a yellow for sure. Now, the thing is the American argument of that it wasn't intentional, that's not a good argument. Intention has been taken out of the rule book on FIFA tournaments back in like 2014, 2015.
You can still get a red card accidentally.
Yeah, you look at action, not intention. So their argument from the first part was flawed. Now, the rescinding can happen. It can happen in FIFA.
It happens all the time.
But the problem is the process.
That's just it.
That's the argument. The argument is about process. And the one thing I like is that Belgium has already put out a statement saying, yes, we won, but we're not going to drop this because future tournaments could be affected by the BS that happened here. And we want to make sure that there's nothing here. Now, what was used was called Article 27. Article 27 basically says that in any FIFA-controlled tournament, FIFA can come in, their disciplinary council or whatever it is, can rescind red cards so long as that red card is not about match fixing and they never have to give a reason. That doesn't make any sense. What doesn't make any sense is that this is one of the only tournaments where there is no defined process that someone can refer to for an appeal. There needs to be a process for appeal. Appeals are rare, but they happen. So the fact that you have what looks like government interference in this,
it's not a good look.
It's not a good look, especially since FIFA just banned a country for government interference a week ago. Nepal is out of FIFA right now and every single FIFA tournament because of government interference. So it's literally been a week.
Yeah, and then, Infantino's buddies with Trump because Trump has an award just for him. So,
you know what? One thing I did really like is Belgium's head coach,
Garcia
said that Balogun after the game came up and actually the player came to him and to speak and they talked about it. And he said, like, look, this was never about the team. The team did nothing wrong. What went wrong was above the team. And he said, the fact that Balogun came up to talk to me and just kind of be like that human to human, he said, like, he basically said, like, this shows the integrity of the player. This shows that the respect that the player has for the game. And he thought like that he felt really warmed by what Balogun did. So you can't look at Balogun and say anything bad about him. This was not about him.
Or the team. Or Pochettino.
Yeah. Like this was way, way, way higher than that. So I thought it was really nice that moment happened between the two of them. But let's talk about the game because what
the U.S. were pathetic. From minute one, it was Belgian dominance.
Yeah.
You know what? Everybody underestimated Belgium, and they got this far. Fair play.
Do you know what happened in this game?
Now
I'm going to butcher the name.
Ketelari?
Yes, thank you. He showed up because he's been
He's their
non-existent in this tournament until this game.
Yep. And Vanaken also with a goal. And then off the bench, like he's been good off the bench. Romelu Lukaku.
He's got 3 goals in this tournament, doesn't he?
Off the bench.
Like,
I think that's the role for him now.
Yeah. And the thing is I think he gets it, and it's working spectacularly for him. Like, who would have thought?
Who would have thought? I mean, he's Belgium's all-time leading scorer for.
He is.
But the U.S., I'm like they're bad in the back. Like Tim Ream was so bad in the air. Christian Pulisic was dispossessed 14 times. Had a very disappointing tournament, and then Balogun ghosted, so he was serving the suspension after all.
Yeah, I don't understand. Christian Pulisic is a good player.
Overhyped, though.
He is not a great player. You know?
He's not world class. Never was.
No, and I don't understand the absolute desperation of the American punditry latching onto this player as like their savior. He's not your be all end all. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, Dest had a poor game. Robinson, other than the first game, Robertson fell off. Same with Pulisic.
Even
And
McKennie,
he tried.
like he kind of shows up here and there.
And then Matt Freese on that third goal. What was that? I guess he froze.
Yeah. If you are going to come out of your 18-yard box to challenge for a ball, you better 100% know that you're going to make it and then actually kick it. But the fact that he, at first, when he dug his toe into the ground to flub on that kick, I actually thought that he had gotten, because there was a Belgian player behind him. I thought the Belgian player had kind of hooked his foot. So at first I was like, oh, is that a foul on the keeper? And then you see it again. You're like, no, he just kicked the ground. Like anything that could go wrong did go wrong in this game for the Americans. And you gotta imagine that everything that happened in the 48-hour lead up to this game, not only did it affect Belgium in a positive way, it galvanized them. It made them angry. And
Yeah,
I know people say
Belgium played
you
angry.
can't play angry. I got to be honest. Like when I played competitive sports, I would look for things to make me angry because it would just focus me. That happened to
for
Belgium.
sure.
For the Americans, I don't know if this got in their head or it just made this whole occasion more than it was, but they did not deal with it as well as Belgium did.
I don't.
It's that leader, you know, the leader shows up to the game and then the team fails, right? It's that, or the leader says something stupid and, you know, it gets in the head of the team, right? It was a horror show of a game. And it's funny because the round of 16 for all 3 host countries,
It's different perspectives. Canada,
phenomenal. It's
Happy
better
with-
than they've done. But for the
US and
Americans,
Mexico
and I
disappointing.
would argue for Mexico, it's not bad either. It's minimum. It's minimum, but in my mind, it still meets the expectation. Because you got to look, the Americans have only been to the quarterfinals
once.
So getting to the
Okay.
round of 16 isn't bad. But the problem is the way you bowed out, that's what you remember now.
I think the expectation for the U.S. was to make the quarterfinals.
It was. They always want to go, you know, either get what you've got as a minimum and go on. But in the expanded tournament, with everything going on, knowing who you're going to be facing once you get to a round of 16 and the teams that are there, when you start to think of reasonable expectation, 16 isn't bad. It's not great. Like I said, it is the minimum, but I still think you made the minimum. And I would make that argument even for Mexico.
I mean, Mexico, they're disappointed they didn't win because they were up by a man. More in that game later.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of like, yeah, you did us proud. You did what you could. But in the U.S., disappointment because the players, I think the U.S. just needs a reality.
You know what?
check.
It's like how we always like to joke about England, where it's like all of a sudden you get to a World Cup and you think that you
best.
deserve it before the tournament even happens. We kind of that's the American mentality as well when it comes to this, where it's like
We're the They think they're the best, but they're not. They're not even
No,
close.
and you even take a look at like when some people, like, certain people, and they'll be unnamed because I think you'll be able to figure it out. When they were coming out with their power rankings before the tournament, power rankings of teams or players, the rest of the world was just giving their head a shake, saying, "You've played this sport. You should understand what it is you're talking about." But I don't think you're on the same planet as where this sport takes place.
The Americans have been very arrogant, pretentious for no reason.
No,
They need to be humbled.
but it's not the players and it's not the coach.
That's not Pochettino.
They're
either.
not the ones being arrogant. It's everything around them. So that's the problem, is that the team gets associated with all the noise. And we should look at them separately.
The players, many of them weren't good enough, and goes to show America doesn't have that one player who can really take a stranglehold of the game. Pulisic is supposed to be that guy. He isn't.
I think Pochettino has done well in trying to rebuild the culture within the team, because that's the one thing you said is like the culture in the team was very, very poor, and it was trying to rebuild it to the point where you have to take this seriously. This isn't a vacation when you come once every few
Yeah,
months
that's what
for
he
a couple
mentioned.
of weeks and meet your friends and whatnot. It's like, no, you got to take this seriously. And I think he's done that. So I think I will say, like, we believe that he's going to be staying on. He's signed to now 2030, right?
That's the plan, but it's
The plan. And the thing is I think he has sold me in that I think he did a good job.
I think Poch should
But
stay.
I
he
think
wants
this is just one step. I think he now needs to build on what he has been able to get. He's kind of built that foundation. Now it's to see what you can do to elevate the program above and beyond what it is right now. But yeah, I think the sky is the limit for the American program. But if you expected anything more than what happened in this tournament, then I'm sorry, but give your head a shake.
Yeah, we need to find a better squad, and of course Pochettino has things to work on himself. All right, down at the Azteca, one of the greatest games of all time was played. There was a rain delay or a thunder delay, whatever you want to call it, and this game lived up to the hype.
This game was nuts. It was fun to watch. It was everything you could possibly ever want if you're a neutral.
Exactly.
It was, and the thing is I think what we saw was the best of England in terms of getting Bellingham and Kane to work as a 1-2 partnership.
Oh, they did. Like Mexico.
That cutback. I was going to say that cutback by Kane for Bellingham was insane.
2 goals in 2 minutes,
Yeah.
or 3 minutes from Jude Bellingham. Like after a Mexico onslaught, like they were hyped up by the crowd and everything, but England came out firing with Jude Bellingham. Obviously, Quinones made it interesting. Second half was just as crazy with Kwanzaa being sent off, rifle red.
Absolutely. But the thing is now, the English FA is saying, well, if we can get these overturned or at least postponed until after the tournament so we can serve the red card suspension after the tournament, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Because the door's been open to that now.
Rangel with a poor challenge on Anthony Gordon. Harry Kane obviously scores the penalties. Again, no stutter step, just blast into the net.
My daughter was actually watching the penalties of the very last game, the Swiss Colombia, with me, and we'll get into that later. But even like for people that don't really follow the stutter step, like she's shaking her head, going, "What is this?"
Yeah, well, she knows.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, she's 10 years old and she's figured it out."
Yeah. Then in this game, Raul Jimenez also scored a penalty. After Harry Kane clipped a guy in the box, but well done to England for hanging on.
Yep.
10 in the box. Tuchel had a game plan. He executed it. Dan Burn with the clearances. Declan Rice in the midfield just bossing it. Like everybody did their job.
Starting Saka, good, finally.
Yep, finally. But he had fitness issues too.
Yeah.
Jed Spence also had a good turn.
Jed Spence came into this game and to be that defensive stability when they needed it towards the end, when they were down a player, and he was phenomenal with how he played, the number of tackles, and what he was able to contribute. And I know a lot of people, especially in England, have looked at Jed Spence going, why are you here? You know, why is not Trent Alexander-Arnold in this and whatnot? But the thing is if you were going off of what Arnold did in the season, that's what Tuchel said he was basing it off of. He's like, I'm not basing it on the name on the back of your shirt. I'm basing it off what you have done.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything. You might be able to make the argument about Spence as well. Don't get me wrong. Spurs had a garbage season as well. But Spence was the guy that was being called up in the lead up to this tournament. And this games like this where he can be that guy to come off the bench, because he's never going to be your top guy, or he shouldn't be. But he still contributes effectively.
Yeah, and though I also question Mexico's strategy of crossing it against a team with height. And they were not good when they had the ball on Pickford.
Well, you can't do that, especially when you got a guy, when you put on someone like Dan Burn.
Yeah, who was just clearing it. I question
Dan
the
Burn's
call-up.
taller than me.
I question the call-up because of his speed, but physicality.
But they brought him in for a specific job.
This is what he was brought in for.
To basically to hold up the end of matches.
Yeah.
Right? That's his job, right?
And well done to England. They take
even
on
John
Norway.
Stones coming on did well.
He did.
And you want to talk about a guy who has lost his pace.
I mean, I don't think he was never the fastest guy, but
yeah, he never was.
Got the head for it. They're going to take on Norway, England, who got by Brazil thanks to Mr. Erling Haaland. Quiet game, but again, all he needs is a touch in front of goal, and he'll make you pay.
Yeah, Brazil needs to do some soul searching because this is an aging squad. We already know that Neymar has said that he is done internationally. That was his last game internationally. But there is other players in this program where they need to take a look. Ancelotti has got some work on his hands because it sounds like he's still going to be around.
Yeah, it looks like he'll still be around.
I was worried that he might end up being the scapegoat. But if Brazil can hold on to him, I think that's probably the best choice.
What's happening now?
Yeah, it does sound that way. But he's got a lot of work to do to get ready for 4 years.
Speaking of stutter steps, that Guimaraes penalty. Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though everybody questions why Ancelotti didn't play Endrick more.
Yeah, there's a weird thing going on between him and Endrick.
And the memes are hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. And the thing is Ancelotti knows this player, right?
Yep.
Going back to the Real Madrid days. But
and some of the selections, obviously, why he didn't call up João Pedro.
Yeah.
Would have helped.
Yeah.
But for Norway, Nyland.
Also, starting a player like in the first game, like he did with Traore, did not work out.
Yeah.
Going with Cunha in the end, like he figured that out very fast because Cunha was great. But, well, not so much in this game, but in general. Brazil, and this is the first time that Brazil's been knocked out before the quarterfinals since, what was it, 1990, 1994?
Something like that.
So this is a failure for Brazil.
Well, it's a massive failure.
It's a huge failure. But I think you need to keep the manager around, but you need to bring in the new blood of players because there are a lot of players on this squad that will not and should not be around for the next World Cup.
But there are players who definitely will be around, like Esteban. Too bad he got injured before the
Guimaraes,
yeah, who by the way is
for the most part
forcing his way out to Arsenal.
Yeah. Obviously, Vinicius Jr. will definitely be around. Players like that, but there is questions for others.
Yeah, but
Good on Norway.
Well
wow. Again, Norway is just kind of that another feel good team of this tournament. Not the only one, obviously. You can throw in others in there, Cabo Verde and whatnot. But Norway is just fun to watch. And Norway is more than Erling Haaland. Nyland, what a phenomenal performance in net. Unbelievable. Berg throughout this tournament has been stellar in the midfield.
Odegaard's been good too.
Odegaard is like health concerns and all that, or injury concerns, but Odegaard has been to his best as creator and what he's been able to do from that kind of slightly deeper attacking position.
Yeah, Aguirre and Hegem, very good center backs against Brazil.
Yeah.
Well done to Norway as they'll take on England in Miami.
I look at Berg, and Berg plays for a great team in Norway. He plays for Bodø/Glimt, which is like that crazy team way, way, way in the north. I think it's north of the Arctic Circle. And they're always in European competition. Always. But I do wonder at this stage in his career, he's 28 right now, our team's looking at him saying, you know what, you've got four years where you're at your prime. Do you get a move somewhere? Because I thought he was phenomenal throughout this entire tournament.
Maybe to a lower league team, a mid-table top team.
I would say mid-table for sure.
Mid to bottom table, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And Argentina, Egypt, in a comeback for the ages. Of course, there's not without controversy. Egypt going up 2-0. Like, it looked like we were heading for one of the biggest upsets of all time.
Yeah.
But guess
there's 2 points of controversy that they talk. One is the disallowed goal because of the foul. Now, the rules are weird on this because it says that you can look into the lead up of the play and go back if there's something in there. But the lead up that they used was so far back. At what point do you say it's too far back?
That's the thing. I'm wondering, like, well, what point does you cut it off?
Now the thing is for me, this isn't on the ref. This is on FIFA and ambiguous rules.
Yeah.
This would be like, I don't know, complaining to a cashier about the price of what you're buying in a store. That's not their job. Their job is only to apply what's in front of them. And the ref did. He applied what was in front of him. It wasn't good what was in front of him, but FIFA needs to clarify this. That's the problem. Now, the penalty shout on Salah, I'm sorry, but that is a dive. That is a dive.
Yeah, looking at that, I changed my mind. It's a dive.
So, yeah, to me, that's.
I think the disallowed goal was more egregious.
Yeah, the disallowed goal, I would argue, goes too far back. But the problem is FIFA needs to clarify how far back you can go, and they haven't done that. So at that point, you're leaving it to the person on the pitch. And if you're not making things clear, it shouldn't be their job to do it. Exactly. If VAR comes back to them and says, you need to look at this, then there's nothing else they can do.
Yep. And felt like Argentina were overwhelmed after Ibrahim scored.
Yeah.
And Zico scored to make it 2-0. But who else but Lionel Messi could put Argentina on his back? Like, well, Christian Romero, though, the Tottenham player, with the header, to make it interesting. Then, of course, Messi blasted into the net 4 minutes later.
People that watch Spurs and know Romero, not necessarily from this last season because he had a lot injured and red cards and whatnot, but we know that he can pop up and get those headers and contribute throughout a season for whatever team he's on. So I'm not surprised that he was able to do it here.
And then, speaking of players who can pop up, Enzo Fernandez, not the most technical, not good defensively, not the fastest, but he can crash the box and score goals at big moments. And that's what he did to receive Lautaro Martinez's cross and get the winner for Argentina. First Chelsea player to score at this World Cup.
That's crazy.
I mean, to be fair, Chelsea's call-outs were Pedro Neto midfielders and defenders.
That's true. Yeah.
And I wonder, like, does this increase the transfer value? If you, and he's very coy on his future, but
Okay, here's the thing: is it may increase the transfer value, and the player may want to move. I just don't know who's buying.
Real Madrid don't want him.
And I know Man City has been looking, but I don't really know if they're
They don't need him.
100% in the market either.
But they're signing Elliot Anderson. They don't need him.
Yeah. So you take those two big teams out. Who else is going to look for him?
It seems like he'll stay at Chelsea for now.
Yeah.
So, well done to Argentina, I guess. And Messi was in tears after because if they had lost, the blame would have been on him on the missed penalty.
You want to talk about the one thing in his game, it's penalties. In his World Cup career, he has taken 10 penalties. He's got 5 of them. If your penalty conversion rate is 50% and not 80, don't take penalties. I get it. You're the face of this club, but there are other players that can and should be taking these penalties.
Like Lautaro or Julian.
That was the first name I was going to think of.
Also, it's like Messi being good at everything else, but not at penalties is like Gordon Ramsay not being able to cook a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah. It should honestly, it should be the easiest thing in the world. You think penalties, and that's what they said. Like goalkeepers only expect to save 1 out of every 5.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's considered good. The fact that you're only converting 50% of your penalties is it's not only not great. It's bad. It's bad, and that's fine. You can have one thing in your game that you're not good at, especially if it is like, I don't know, a set play. I don't know if penalties are its own thing, but just don't do them. You got 10 other guys. Get the goalkeeper to do it if they're going to be better than you.
Yeah. Got it for Egypt, though, with the way they're up 2-0, and it felt like they had the game on the ropes. But unfortunately, it wasn't good enough on the day.
No, it was not. And
then the final game of the round of 16 was here in Vancouver. Switzerland, Colombia. Colombia were the favorite team. They had more fans at BC Place, but
by a long shot. Like that was home ground for Colombia.
Home game. Could you imagine if it was Colombia, Canada? I think the Colombians would outnumber Canada fans.
5 years ago, I don't necessarily know. I think it would have been a very
or
like
50-50.
Kind of 50-50, but yeah, I think the one thing that was kind of funny because even the announcers of the game were saying like they almost can't even hear themselves with how loud that building was, which is great. Like it shows you the atmosphere in the city when you can get behind something like this.
Unfortunately, Colombia couldn't score. They couldn't beat Gregor Kobel, who were missing chances. Luis Suarez had that one chance where he completely flubbed, then he blamed the grass. Maybe he would have scored on the turf.
Yeah, that's what he needed. He needed the turf.
Yeah, totally. Luis Diaz has kind of an underwhelming tournament. Felt like I was watching Liverpool Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
In this game. James Rodriguez didn't do a whole lot, just like in his last game at BC Place. But credit to the Swiss without Manzambi and without fully fit Vargas.
Missing Manzambi is a huge loss for Switzerland because how well Manzambi played with Mbolo, that 1-2 pairing, it's kind of irreplaceable on that squad.
Yeah, Jacques Freuler, enjoy. They dictated the game. Switzerland defended well, but the penalties, like Manuel Akanji, what was that? Like it hit the where the tarp is covering the tunnel.
But you could say Akanji on one side, you could say Sanchez on the other side. One thing I don't understand is why do we constantly see center backs taking penalties when out of any position on the field, that position has the lowest conversion rate on penalties. But guaranteed, out of the 5 players chosen, there's a center back on either side.
Unless they volunteered.
I don't get it.
Yeah, that Davidson Sanchez one hits the crossbar.
Yeah.
Great shout out to Colbell too for stopping Columbus Crew legend in a way.
That was an
Joe
excellent save.
Hernandez.
That was an excellent save. Because the thing is, that was a great penalty kick. It was one of those ones where it probably would have went off the inside of the post and in, and that's exactly where you want to place them. So far to the side where the goalkeeper can't get there.
Yeah, and great
That was an
penalty by
excellent save.
Vargas to win it. No starter step. He just picked his corner.
Yeah. No, that was one of those ones where usually if a goalkeeper saves a penalty, you're like, oh, that was not a good penalty take. This was an excellent penalty take and an excellent save. You don't normally see that.
Yeah, and then Vargas wins it. Picks the corner. Argentina, Switzerland in Kansas City.
Yep.
So, yeah, no games today, but the Whitecaps play today against Cavalry at Concord Stadium for the Canadian Championship first leg. Quarterfinal, Nathan and I will be there. And we don't get World Cup games until tomorrow, where France takes on Morocco.
And the quarterfinals begin, down to the final 8.
Yeah, should be good. We'll be writing all our articles on that and the Whitecaps game tonight. We'll be back next week. I think recapping the quarters and previewing the semis. So that concludes this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Follow me on Twitter, Joshua00, Nathan and Derek, podcast Terminal City FC. We're on Blue Sky, Instagram, and YouTube as well. Big things. I won't say much, but big-ish things coming for this podcast. Stay tuned for that. So that concludes this week's episode. Peace out.
Take care.